Today, we are going to break down weeks 1 through 8 Bo Nix stat predictions. We're going to look through every team we play, weeks 1 through 8, and we're going to look at their defenses. We're going to look at our offensive matchup, and we're going to see, can we predict Sean Payton's scheme? Is it going to be run heavy this game? Is it going to be pass heavy? What's going to be Bo Nix's stats for those games? We're going to look at that weeks 1 through 8. And also, we might take a glance to see the cornerback matchups of Pat Surtain and Riley Moss for the first few weeks as well. Let's see those big wide receiver 2 matchups. Let's see if Pat Surtain can make another run for 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Will Riley Moss coming back healthy? Will he have a better year this year with an offseason, with 1 year starting under his belt playing opposite Pat Surtain? So we're going to take a look at that today. But thanks, guys, for coming into another episode of Orange and Blue Blitz.
Tune in, now it's time to sit. Orange and blue, we never quit. Broncos Fridays, lit legit. Every week we're bringing grit. Orange and blue, we bring the heat. Podcast grinding can't be beat. Every play, every style we meet. Blitz so hard it's on repeat. Mile high dreams we elevate. Break it down, we narrate. From the field to the fan debate. Broncos Country, we dominate. We got the passion, we got the drive. Orange and blue keeps us alive. Every tackle, every stride. It's the Blitz where legends thrive.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Orange and Blue Blitz, brought to you by the Orange and Blue Network in partnership with Mile High Roundtable, guys. Good afternoon. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday, well rested. Here to talk about some Broncos again today. And before we do that, you guys have to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with your friends and family on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and everywhere you listen to your podcast. We are at 289 subscribers on YouTube. We are on the road to 300. Johnny, Mile High Viking, I need a Sparta either video or soundboard because we are on the path to 300. We are on the path to 300. So if you're listening, Johnny, I need that so that way we can push that, the path to 300. And I need you guys to go ahead and subscribe on our path to 300. And we are here for that. And also, guys, go ahead over to MHRT. Subscribe to them, follow them on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook as well, which is what you guys are going to want to do. And we would love to get a shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Dubby. As you guys know, Dubby was formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or crash. Their formula contains vitamins, amino acids, and nootropics, including the patented neurofactor. It has no calories, no sugar, no maltodextrin, no fillers, and no artificial colors. As you guys know, I have been losing weight. And Johnny has been as well. And Dubby helps us do that because when you don't want sugars or calories or anything that's going to make you feel bloated or crash later on, Dubby comes in handy. It's a nice little powder that comes in different flavors. You put it in your drink, you mix it up. Now you got some healthy juice. And that's what we want. And make sure you guys head over to Dubby and you type in NRWOB10 for 10% off. That's NRWOB10. All right, let's see who is here. Kodiak Broncos podcast, salute. Let's effing go. Shy's in the house. Good afternoon, Shy. Kona Spence in the house. He says, good morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. I am. Hope you're doing well as well. We'll be 6-2 after 8 games. For me, that's 6 beers consumed and 2 times. 6-2 and 8 weeks is good per day. 6-2 is good. 6-2 is good. As you guys know, my desk is full of post-it notes. I'm thinking, so I've got some ideas of how I'm going to end up setting some things up, because what I'm not going to do is I don't want post-it notes everywhere, because for whatever reason I have a thing about paper being everywhere. As Johnny will tell you, which I didn't know, when Johnny and I first met, when I was over his house, I guess Johnny had some papers on the table, and I wasn't reading them or anything, but I guess while we were talking, I was like fixing the papers and whatever the case may be, and Barb's was asking Johnny, hey, why is he fixing the papers? And Johnny was like, just let him do it. So I know I'm not going to have all these post-it notes all over my desk for long. But I think what I am going to end up doing is having a prediction board. I don't know if I'm going to create one digitally, or what I'm thinking about doing is having a second camera and having the camera point at the prediction board. So the board will be somewhere over here. And we'll have so far we have the contract predictions. We have the score predictions. We have the offensive ranking predictions. We have weeks 1 through 8 score predictions, and today we're doing weeks 1 through 8 Bo Nix stat predictions. So as you guys see, we got a lot of off-season work that we've been getting into as a network. Yo, Heroes in the house. He said he left Pat McAfee to hit the likes. Yo, do you guys hear that? Yo, Orange and Blue Network, I need you guys to hit the likes, because we cannot have a Chargers fan coming in and showing up. He left the Pat McAfee show. The Pat McAfee show to come here and hit the likes. Orange and Blue Network, shout out to Hero. Shout out to Hero. Y'all got to get the likes up. Let's go. We are on the path, the road to 300. Get the likes up, get the subscribes up. Shout out to y'all. But as I was saying, we're doing a lot of offseason predictions here at the Orange and Blue Network, and you guys have been involved in all of it. And so I want to get a prediction board. I'm going to see if I can work on that, and then see if I have another camera, so that way when we do these things, we can go back and look at it and check at the prediction board throughout the season, at the end of the season, see where we're looking at, see if we're close, because we want to keep track of these things. And so I think that's going to be a fun thing to do. So hopefully, Lord willing, before the season starts in September, hopefully we can get that going. But Shai says, what do you think about the Nuggets trades? I'm not a Nuggets fan, so I'm only saying what they're doing peripherally. I think they're building a blue-collar team. They're not getting big superstar money. They're not spending big superstar money. They're doing it similar to the Broncos, where you have guys who are good fits tailored around your main guy. So they've got good defensive guys, good rebounders, good defenders, and stuff like that. So you still have Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon and Jokic. So you still have that pick and roll offense, and you don't have to be an excellent scorer with Jokic. And so I think what they did was they the same way the Broncos tailored their offseason toward teams they lost to in the season, I think the Nuggets tailored their offseason toward teams they lost to in the playoffs. It's including deepening their bench, which is going to be a motif across the entirety of the NBA because of what OKC did. So yeah, I think they did similar to what the Broncos did. And like I said, with Jokic on the Nuggets, I think they're always going to be a threat in the West. They're always going to be a threat in the West. So being originally from LA, I was a Lakers fan. I was a Lakers fan. As I got older, I became a huge Kobe fan. I was devastated when he died. I cried. I was crying. I cried. But Johnny, I remember Johnny's the one that broke the news to me because I was on the way to work, and Johnny, he texted me, and he said, "Did you hear what happened with Kobe, or did you see the news?" Something like that. And he called me because he knew I'm a huge Kobe fan. And I know Johnny's a huge Chauncey Billups fan, especially when he played for the Nuggets. So he called me. I was hurt. I was devastated. But after Kobe, I didn't get to see Kobe's last game because I was in the field. Johnny wouldn't have seen it because he's not a Kobe fan, but Johnny and I were both in the jungle of Louisiana training. So I missed Kobe's last game, but I heard about it when he dropped 60. But after Kobe retired, I stopped kind of watching basketball. Stopped watching the Lakers. Was never really a fan of LeBron, so I definitely wouldn't have came back when he became a Laker. But I really became a Steph Curry fan. Really, really became a Steph Curry fan. So kind of stayed in the California area. But I like the way Steph Curry plays. He has that instinct. So kind of Curry / Warriors. I'm more of a bandwagon in basketball than I am football. Now, growing up, I got made fun of for becoming a Broncos fan by my family. So my brother is a Steelers fan, but he liked Marshall Faulk. That was his favorite. My dad was a Vikings fan, but his favorite player was Ray Lewis. But he always talked about a bunch of players, Walter Payton and stuff like that, Deion Sanders. We grew up in the same town as John Elway. The school we played at was the school John Elway went to. So very, very familiar with John Elway. He talked about John Elway's arm, but he was a Vikings fan. My mom didn't really have a team, but once we ended up getting a house, we have another property in Arizona. She ended up becoming a Cardinals fan. And then I was a Colts fan at that time because of Peyton Manning. So all of us were everywhere. And then after Peyton Manning left, the Colts didn't want to sign him back. They cut him. He went to the Broncos. I became a Broncos fan. So they used to give me a hard time about that. Now my dad is no longer a Vikings fan. I think he claims the Ravens now. My sister was a Chargers fan. She was stationed in San Diego, so I understand. And I think when they moved to LA, she's a Saints fan. So everybody started jumping everywhere. But they always asked, "Well, you're not changing around?" I said, "No." I said, number one, I have a whole podcast. Number two, Johnny would kill me. So that's not an option. But that's the long answer to what my favorite basketball team is. Hero says Denver's in win now mode. Yeah. They're trying to maximize Jokic's window, and I agree with that. We all feel for that Kobe with that fro. Yeah. The conspiracy about his death is a weird one. Dude had such a purpose off the field. Yeah. So being from LA, my dad he's a retired firefighter, and he did like 30 years. So he was still in the fire department when this happened. Those people got sued, and the fire department settled with Kobe's family because of those pictures. The autopsy report is awful. I think about him and his daughter often. But those the Los Angeles Fire Department has been going through a lot. And that one of the very few things in LA you do not do you just don't. In-N-Out is up there. Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles is up there. Those are just things that are homestays, and that you hold in high esteem and you have respect for. Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson's up there too. Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, but Kobe Bryant specifically, in a way different from Magic Johnson, is a line you do not cross. It just is what it is. I don't know how to explain it. Denver fans, if you're from Denver, it's John Elway. It's John Elway in Denver. You just don't. His family absolute protection anywhere. It wouldn't have to pay for a thing. When the LA riots happened a while ago, when that thing about the defacing of Kobe's mural came out, that pissed off a lot of people. So that's just one of those things in LA you just don't cross. And when the fire department did that, they had to quiet that up quickly because you would have seen for the first time a people turn against the fire department, which never happens. So they had to keep that. And the conspiracies came about because those pictures and all that surfaced. And it's just crazy, awful stuff. But here at the Orange and Blue Network, we can talk about anything and we talk about everything. That's why you guys have to smash that likes up button. Hero came over here from the Pat McAfee show to smash the likes up button. So you guys here need to smash the likes up button. So we are going to get into the weeks 1 through 8 Bo Nix stat prediction. So we're going to pull up the schedule. And we're going to be looking at the schedule a lot this offseason. Absolutely. And that's what we're supposed to do. That's exactly what we're supposed to do. So we're going to know it well. We're going to memorize it. We're going to know what teams we play. If you come here and you listen to the Orange and Blue Network, especially the Orange and Blue Blitz, you will know the schedule. You will know when you talk to your friends, when you talk to your family, when they say week 13, you'll know who we play. You'll know the date. You'll know where it is. You'll know the time. We're going to drill it in our heads. Dude was going to expose the pharmaceutical game, help the WA clean the all his fake NBA choice. Yeah. Yeah, he really was going to help the WNBA. I think one of the biggest things was he was really going to help the WNBA. But when God calls us home, when God says it's our time, it's our time. And none of us can stop it. Week 1, Titans. So this is an interesting. I think, you know what? I think one of these days, one of these shows, what we're going to do is we're going to go down the rosters of each opposing team. And we're just going to look at the rosters because off the top of my head, I cannot think of many people on the Titans. I know Cam Ward, Tony Pollard. I know the receiver that they got back there hoping to do. I cannot think of his name off the top of my head. Calvin Ridley's there. So Calvin Ridley's there, Tony Pollard, Cam Ward, J.C. Latham, who they drafted a year ago. I think they still have Jeffrey Simmons. So this is with Sean Payton and Bo Nix in our roster, this is a pick your poison game. And knowing Sean, I don't think with a game like this isn't a you run the clock off game. This isn't a control the ball, possess the game, run it. But this isn't easier a throw all your bags of tricks out there either. But here's what I'm going to say before I give my first stat prediction. A lot of people are saying Bo Nix could have similar stats or a little worse stats, but be a better quarterback. And I think there's only one way I personally would consider a better quarterback in that situation is if his completion percentage is higher and his interceptions are lower. And it's not either or. I mean, I guess you could have the same completion percentages last year and have lower interceptions, and that's still a better year. But for me, if you're going to have the same passing yards and the same touchdowns, or you're going to have less yards and less touchdowns, as people say that possibly could happen in year 2, I want to see less interceptions and a higher completion percentage. I think one of the improvements we're going to see from Bo Nix this year in year 2 in not only knowing the offense better and being able to regurgitate the offense better in the huddle and getting out and reading better defenses, but I think the way that's going to show on the field is his completion percentage. And I think with Drew Brees constantly having a high completion percentage and Sean Payton's offense being rhythm and timing, Bo Nix fits that well. And I think now that he knows the offense and he's comfortable with his offensive line and he knows them, I think, especially with his last year in Oregon, I think before Shedeur came out, Bo Nix had the highest completion percentage in college football history. Shedeur just beat it. That's accuracy and mental, which Shedeur and Bo both have. Excuse me. And so I think with year 2 coming in that, you're going to see his ability to know what the defense is doing, know where his offensive guys are, and delivering the ball better. So I expect these games to be a lot higher completion percentage. What did he finish last year? 60. What is it? 60, somewhere between 64 and 66%. I expect him to be 66, 67 completion percentage this year, which is around what Drew Brees averaged, if I can remember off the top of my head. So I think if we don't see the high yards, but I expect to see high efficiency. Let's see. All right. Week 1. I'm going to go I think we're going to run the ball. I think we're going to be successful in running the ball. But I think Sean Payton's going to want to throw. And I think it's going to be a lot of explosives this game. Not a lot of explosives like he emptied the bag, but the explosives are going to be there. The intermediate's definitely going to be there. The run after the catch is going to be there. So I'm going to go 21 of 27. 265, 3 touchdowns. Week 1, 21 of 27, 265, and 3 touchdowns. And what is the completion percentage? 77%. I think that's a good week 1. I think that's a good week 1 stat line against the Titans. You're not throwing 300, 400 yards. We don't need that. I don't want Bo Nix to come out week 1 throwing 400 yards. If you're playing the Titans, if you're throwing 400 yards, that tells me a couple things. Either you're in a shootout with the Titans. Why? Or 2, Sean Payton's being greedy. I don't want Sean Payton and Sean Payton's not going to be greedy week 1 against the Titans. So I think it's going to be pretty measured, but I think 77% completion percentage, 265 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I think that's a good stat line. That's a good start against the Titans. That's what you expect. You expect that same efficiency to continue into next season. All right, so we're going to go. We're going to need a few post notes for this one. Week 2, Colts. So this is where I think you see Sean Payton's creativity a little bit more not because he wants to be creative, because I think the situation dictates it. Whereas the Colts got creative last time because they needed something. I don't think we're going to get creative because we need something. I don't think it's going to be creative of a double pass this, nothing like that. But I think you're going to see the playbook open up a little bit more. Because remember, last year we didn't have a tight end and we didn't have a running back. This year we have 2 running backs and we have a great tight end. So we're going to see plays that we didn't see before. Maybe that weren't necessary in the Titans week 1 because, hey, we got off quick and our defense was able to hold and sustain. There was no need for it. I think the Titans game is maybe where we start off a little slow. And I think maybe in the 2nd and 3rd is where Bo hits his stride, and the 4th is where we sustain. That's where he gets his 3 touchdowns and 265 yards. But the Colts, I think this is going to be a little bit more measured game. Like I said Monday, the Colts are going to be good this year. The Colts are a dark horse playoff team this year. They were last year. They're even more so that this year. I think the Colts can be better than the Bengals because the Colts have a better defense. And I think Daniel Jones with Jonathan Taylor elevates that offense just a little bit, considerably more than with Anthony Richardson. And they have Tyler Warren. They have a tight end too. So Hero said, who the Colts start at QB? Daniel Jones. Anthony Richardson's injured and is recovering from his AC joint surgery, the same shoulder. That's his second surgery on that same shoulder in 2 years and 2 years in NFL. So it's definitely Daniel Jones. So this isn't, the Colts aren't a team we overlook and we laugh at. We can easily go 1-1 this game, and I'm not even joking. Because it's in Indianapolis and they want revenge for last year. I'm telling you guys, but this would be a grinded out game, and I think this is where we showcase our run game a little bit, and we decide we're going to run a little bit more. Not because we're not afraid Bo Nix can not throw the ball, but this is more run the ball, play action, grind it down, let the defense. This is, a 6-minute drives. This is where you want to average 6 to 7 minute drives. You're not holding the ball long, but you're moving at will. You're like, hey, we can go quick if we want to. We can slow it down if we want to. We're gonna play with you a little bit like food, and you can't stop us. And then we're gonna go on our defense. And we know with our defense, if you get behind, even with Daniel Jones or our pass rush, it doesn't matter. We're gonna start eating you alive. So let me go. What was my score prediction? Week 2, I said 28-21. See, I can look at the score predictions and go based off that and go with stats. So I said week 2, 28-21. I think looking back at that, we may or may not revise some things as, free agency happens or the case may be. I wouldn't be surprised if that scores 28-14. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 28-14 instead of 28-21, but we're going to leave it there as well. So we got 28. This is a game where I say, we have 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. So this one, Bo's going to go 18-24, 240, 2 touchdowns. And so, as you can see, still high completion percentage. The yards aren't there, and the touchdowns aren't there. But as I said, we don't, if J.K. Dobbins gets 2 rushing touchdowns this game, and Bo Nix has 2 passing touchdowns, 1 to Cortland Sutton, 1 to Evan Ingram, I'm okay with that. That's still a 75% completion percentage. So right now, coming into week 3, Bo Nix isn't the best in the NFL in passing yards. Maybe he's top 5 in passing touchdowns. Maybe. Top 10 in passing touchdowns. But he's definitely probably the best in the league in completion percentage. He's definitely the most efficient quarterback in the NFL at this point in time. And I think this is going to be very important coming into week 3. Hey, guys. Did you guys smash that like button? Smash that like button. And you're going to want to hit that notification bell. Because today is Wednesday and we have Broncos talk tonight at 6 p.m. And so you're definitely not going to want to miss that with 6'10" Mexican Adon and Ty White. You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure you guys are there for that. Hit that like button. Smash that like button, guys. Hit that notification bell. All right, so going into week 3, Bo Nix is the most efficient quarterback in the NFL. This is what I'm expecting from Bo Nix this year. I'm expecting elite efficiency. Let's see. Hero says, throw the ball in must-need games. You guys better save your best plays on us when we start to see us go to overtime. Yes, and this is exactly what I was going to say. Hero knows ball. This is exactly what I want to say. Going into week 3, this is where it's going to have to be an absolutely balanced offense and defense, a full-on game. But in this game, Hero, you want to know the difference between the Broncos and the Chargers in this game? Marvin Mims. Not on offense, but on special teams. I think Marvin Mims gets his first punt return touchdown as an NFL, as a two-time Pro Bowl punt returner. I think he gets his first punt return touchdown against the Chargers. And that's going to be the difference between us beating you week 3. Because what I say, 23-20? Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a game-winning punt return touchdown, but definitely could be a difference maker. I said that would be lit. Yeah, a punt return touchdown. So week 3, what are we looking at? All right, so I'm expecting his completion percentage to drop this game. He's been in the high 70s the first 2 weeks. You played the Titans and the Colts. I expect that. Beat up on the AFC South. I expect that. But here, Jesse Mitchell's not going to let you do that. Now, you can. We showed the second time we played the Chargers. When you stay faithful to the run, you can beat up on the Chargers. And you play smart and you play efficient. Now, this is a hard stat line to predict. This is a very hard stat line to predict. D-Rock in the house. West Side. Mile High salute. This is a very hard stat line to predict. Week 3. Let's go. I think J.K. Dobbins' revenge game. It's not likely a shootout game. It's just Broncos and Chargers just doesn't seem like a shootout. The defenses are too good. But I think we go over 300 yards for the first time this game. So I'm going to go 23. No, we're playing the Chargers. We shouldn't be throwing that much. Is this going to be a hard fought? Is this going to be defense and defense low scoring game? No, because last year's wasn't that. No, you know what? I'm going to go stick what I said. What I was going to say originally. 23. Because the Chargers got Jim Harbaugh did get some more receivers. He got Trey Harris in addition to Lad McConkey. He brought Mike Williams back. So he's going to throw the ball a little bit more. I think they learned against the Texans that when it's time to throw the ball, they didn't have the guys for that. And I think with the Broncos defense being as good as it is, the Broncos defense, similar to last year, the second game has the possibility to get ahead early and make the Chargers play from behind. Now, last year, our defense wasn't good enough to stop that. But I think this game's I think this game could be. I think this game could have the possibility of bringing both teams out of their game plans because it's a divisional game. Chargers, you want to run the ball, maybe you want to set up the play action, you want to be efficient, but maybe this Broncos game just doesn't allow that, and you just have to just gunsling it. And like Sean Payton did last year, maybe he wanted to just he said run it. And in the second half, he just wants to gunsling it from the beginning. And maybe it's just the Broncos and Chargers saying, screw it, let's just gunsling it. And I just have a feeling with the Broncos playing the Chargers this first game of the week, the first time since last year and being swept, and then the Chargers coming on their second divisional game. Because regardless of whether the Chargers win or lose, they want this game as bad as whether or not they lost. If they lost to the Chiefs, they want to redeem themselves. If they beat the Chiefs, they want to claim themselves as king. And this will help them do that. So regardless, I think it's going to be a effort game. Division game week 3. Chargers think they're king coming after the Chiefs. The Broncos want to smack the Chargers for last year. Sean Payton's going to come up with stuff up his sleeve. She's going to show Bo Nix is better than Justin Herbert. I'm thinking they gunsling it. So I'm going to go 23-35, 325 for what was it? 23-20. 2 touchdowns. So I'm going to go 2 touchdowns. So now I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, they're coming in just going to go sling it. Shai says everyone thinks Bo Nix will have a sophomore slump. They're predicting the sophomore slump for 2 reasons. One, for pattern recognition. I will give them that. I won't say it's biased. It's pattern recognition. Most guys do have a sophomore slump. I think Jaden Daniels will have a sophomore slump. But I think Caleb Williams will have a sophomore boost. I actually think Caleb Williams will have the best sophomore year of any of the quarterbacks because his stability, change in culture changed so dramatically from his rookie year. He almost doesn't have a choice. I'm actually curious to see how because Caleb Williams is actually really, really athletic and really talented. I watched a couple of his throws and I was like, yeah, that kid is really, really talented. My goodness, he's really talented. But he needs structure and it needs to be molded. And if you can mold that, I see where people get the Patrick Mahomes comps. I really do. Because he's got the speed and quickness of Kyler Murray, but the off-ball playability like Patrick Mahomes. And so I see it. But the second reason is because a lot of people predicted Bo Nix was going to suck last year, and he was the opposite of that. And so instead of admitting they're wrong, which a lot of people already have done, they just moved the goalpost and said, he's into the right. So, I was wrong last year. I was going to have a sophomore slump. And then if I'm right this year, I can just claim my credibility is back. I'm back. I was right. So that's why. Plus, they say CJ Stroud had a sophomore slump. I don't think he did. I think his offensive line is bad. I think his offensive line is going to be bad again this year. That's something that I did not discuss about the Houston game. I don't know. We haven't done week. Okay, where's the record prediction? Where did I want to see whether or not we lost or won to Houston because their offensive line is ranked one of the worst in the NFL. And if we go into Houston and they have one of the worst offensive line, we are going to dominate them. We're going to dominate them. But CJ Stroud had a sophomore slump, and so he won Rookie of the Year. So Bo Nix can't be better than CJ Stroud, so he'll have a sophomore slump. Over under for the Chargers Broncos, I think is 43. 43. So I have us. And I think with the spread for this one is 3. Yeah, super tricky because it can go either way. You can either stick to the game plan or everything can just go haywire and everybody just saying gunslinging, let's go. Because it's a divisional game. And I hate the Chargers. I'm disgusted with the Chargers. But I love you, Hero, though. Yeah, the first game we came back and we had to kick an onside. But this last game, we were at foot on your neck and we just couldn't hang on. Yeah, we will not use our plays on Raiders, pure running down their necks. Yeah, maybe KC Chiefs will get a couple passes on them. They just need to be smart because all 3 games are divisional. It's a must. Yeah, the Raiders, you just stick to your game plan. I just stick to your game plan. Raiders just beat you up, just bully you. But when you play Sean Payton's offense, you have to account for okay, we might have to go out here and gunsling. And the Chiefs, you never know. You never know. Sean's going to cut them sleeves. I need him to cut the sleeves. I say OT because I just don't want the game to end. Hey, I have the score 23-20. So if we go to OT 2020, I have us beating the Chargers in overtime by a field goal. And maybe that Marvin Mims punt return is the difference in special teams. You said Daniels ain't going to slump my guy. He's too legit to quit. I don't think he's going to slump as in talent. I think he's going to slump as in talent around him, and the other teams film on him, which is funny because a lot of people say that about Bo Nix, and I reject that. But the reason why I accept it for Jaden Daniels is because Jaden Daniels had a tight end and had a running back and had better receivers last year. People have film on Bo Nix with just receivers. So the film you have is incomplete. Whereas the Commanders, all they did was added Debo. And he's maybe hit or miss. And they're having contract fights with – they just lost one of their receivers for the season. They're having contract fights with T-Mac, so Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry. So, we're playing this year, so we'll see. Okay, Let's see. Where was I? Week 3. 23 to 35. 65% completion percentage. So he's come back down to earth after the first 2 weeks. Week 4. I think this is similar to the Chargers game where this is a game where I'm sorry. I always skip the Bengals. Let's not do that during the regular season. The Bengals, week 4. I have us putting a pretty good beat down on the Bengals for revenge for last year. I have us winning 31-20. So the Bengals cannot stop the run. I think this is a game where we actually run the ball to keep the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands. And so I can see a low stat like hey, 15 of 19, 15 to 21, 220 yards. So their defense is weak, and so I see this being a really good. I think week 4 has the potential to be the coming out party for our run game. Because I said week 1 and 2 is the Colts, maybe, but I think we can sling it around the field and be okay. The Chargers, like I said, that can go either way. But the Bengals, you don't want the ball in Cincinnati's hands. And so I think, especially week 3 and 4, definitely our run game is, hey, just keep the ball. So I think this will be I could say 15 of 22, 220, and what was it? 2 touchdowns. Because I think we get 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. And so between week 3, so at this point in time, we've got about 5 or 6 rushing touchdowns. So we're definitely balanced. And at this point in time, Bo has 5, 7, 9 touchdowns going into week 5. And so we're a pretty fairly balanced offense. So that is week 4. So I have him going 15 to 22, 220 yards. Let's see. 68% completion percentage. So right now, let me give you his season completion percentage at this point in time going into week 5. So after the first quarter, the first 100 meters, the first quarter is done. And at this point in time, these are Bo Nix's stats at the end of week 4. Right now, we're 4-0. Okay, we're 4-0. This is Bo Nix's stats. So he's got 77 plus 75 plus 65 plus 68 divided by 4. That's not right. Stupid calculator. Or is it me? 77 plus 75 plus 65 plus 68. Yep, there we go. 71.25% completion rating. So he's at a 70+ clip for completion percentage after the first quarter. He's top of the league in efficiency. Now, let's do yards. So after the first quarter pool, he's at 71.25. Yards, 265, 240, 325. He's at 1,000 yards. At 262.5 passing yards per game. That's really good. And 5, 7, 9 touchdowns. That's excellent. So far after the stat predictions from week 1 through 4, so now we got the second quarter. Bo Nix is at 71% completion percentage, 1,050 yards, 262 passing yards per game, and 9 touchdowns. How many interceptions? Whew. All right. I'm gonna go 0 INTs against the 0 INTs against the Titans. Last year he threw 3 against the Colts. I'm going to say 1 against the Colts. Man, I have him slinging it across the yard against the Chargers, so I'm going to get 1 against the Chargers, 0 against the Bengals. So he's got 9 touchdowns, 2 INTs. He's having an excellent first season, first quarter 4, weeks 1 through 4. See, this is why we need a predictor board, guys. This is why we need a predictor board. All right. Guys, smash that like button. All right, weeks 5. All right, the reigning Super Bowl champs. I don't think Sean Payton's game plan in this one is going to be run the ball, keep the ball in Jalen Hurts' hand or Saquon Barkley's hand. I don't. LSDTTV says, "Go Broncos, Mile High Salute." What's up? What's up? Welcome to the chat. This is just going to be a Sean Payton. I'm going to try and outcoach you and be better than you. So I think this is going to be. Hey, we're going to run the ball with Bo Nix. We're going to do the little screens. We're going to show off Evan Ingram. This is going to be a really, really good game. I have us losing 24-31. I think I'm going to go week 5. 25-31, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. Here's why. And we lost, but I think the run game's the differentiator. I don't think Vance Joseph scares Sean Payton at all. Vance Joseph, that's 80% completion rating. In a loss against the reigning defending champs. Vance Joseph has a very rush 4, play back, let them rally up. That's not going to work against the Broncos offensive line. And Bo Nix is really good against the zone. Really good against zone. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL against zone. He will tear you to shreds. Vance Joseph runs a lot of zone. He does not run a lot of man. He does not do a lot of blitzing. So you have an offensive line which is predicted to be as good as the current team that Fangio plays on, of the Philadelphia Eagles. You only rush 4. You lost one of your main guys. And you play zone a lot. And so Sean Payton's just going to tear you up underneath. He's going to have Troy Flanker and Marvin Mims play underneath, make you come up. Then he's going to throw one-on-one against Quinyon Mitchell. I'd take Cortland Sutton over Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean. I would not be surprised if we won this game. I have us losing, but Bo Nix is going 80%, 25-31, 318, and 3 touchdowns. I don't think he throws an interception this game. Week 6. I need a crystal ball. All right. Week 6. All right. Now, these next 2 weeks are the possibility of a beat-up games. Our offense is good. Our defense has been tested. We just came off a loss, so I don't think we lose to the Jets in London. Sean Payton versus his old Aaron Glenn was his old defensive coordinator. He was Dan Campbell's defensive coordinator. He came from under Sean Payton as well. I think this is going to be – what's the score of this game? 35-17. Yes. I think this is going to be a really good game. But just for the Broncos' morale after the Eagles game, and we're just going to beat the crap out of the Jets. And so I see Bo Nix putting up – I know for off my head, he's getting 4 touchdowns. We're actually going to work this one backwards. Jets might be pretty good at stopping the run, but I think Sean Payton's just way too creative and is familiar with all the defenses thrown at him. I think Bo Nix has a record-setting game, and I think he puts up 345, 4 touchdowns. I could be wrong. I just think Sean Payton's so pass happy. He's not going to commit to the run for long. I think he'll commit to the run in the first and third and commit to the pass in the second and fourth, just depending on how the game's going. 4 touchdowns. Let's go. $31, 39, 345, 4 touchdowns. Let's see. 31. 79% completion rating. Now, week 7, he comes back down to earth. Last 2 weeks, he went 80 to 79%. He's got to come back down to earth. I have his completion percentage way too high. So he's definitely going to come back down against the Giants. The Giants have a really good defense. We're going to be tired after traveling. This is going to kick in for Bo Nix. I do think we're going to come out with a win. But I think it's going to look ugly. Because I think the Giants have a chip on their shoulder. So I think it's going to look ugly, but I think we're going to come out with a 138-17. But it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. So I've got Bo going 24 of 24-39, 275, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It's ugly, this game. It's ugly against the Giants. We get the win. I think the running game is what the running game and the defense is. The defense closed the Giants out because I was winning 38-17. But I think the running game is what steps up when Bo turns the ball over. So what is that? 24, 61%. All right, guys. We said we we're going to talk about PS2 today, but we're probably not. We'll probably save that for Friday's show. Friday's show is supposed to be, what do we have here? Weeks, the rest of the season score prediction. Okay, so Friday's going to be the remaining score prediction, and then if we have time, we'll go over wide receiver versus defensive back matchups. But for now, we're going to go finish out on week 8. Week 8. Dallas Cowboys. I have us winning that game. I'm going to change that score. I don't think we're going to blow out the Cowboys the way I wrote. I think they're going to score more, so I think it's not going to be 31-17. I am going to adjust this. It's going to be 31-24. I think 31-24 is more respectable. I just don't think we're going to disrespect the Cowboys like that. But I think we will beat them. I think they'll probably get a garbage time touchdown. I think our defense is just way too good. All right. Week 8 against the Cowboys. This is at home. This is the Cowboys. There's some history. Sean Payton's first time playing the Cowboys is the Bronco. Yes. This is where you can get a little fancy. I think this is where Sean wants to get a little fancy. He's feeling himself this game. I think the Texans. Let me explain why. And we're gonna get, this is the last one, but we are gonna get into week 9. But context matters. Okay. The context of the reason why I think he gets a little fancy this game is, number one, this is an NFC team, not an AFC team. So if you lose, it doesn't hurt your playoff chances. You're already only have one loss on the board this game. That's against the Eagles. You can afford to lose in this game. You can afford to throw it around the field a little bit more. You can afford to do some fancy things. Number 2, the next game you have to be more reserved and more focused, and you can't be doing that. But this is the time to do that, especially at home. So I think when I said week 7 against the Giants, Bo Nix struggled is because they have a good defense. I gave him 3 touchdowns 275 yards, low completion percentage, because it was more of a good drive here. But this game would be more inconsistent. This is more of an inconsistent Bo. But the running game does really well. We stay faithful to it. I think R.J. Harvin, J.K. Dobbins have a big role to play in Week 7 against the Giants. I think their linebacker core is a weakness. Dexter Lawrence, their forefront is going to be good. Remember, the Broncos projected to have an elite offensive line, one if not two. Top two, not two, maybe one. It can go either way. You can argue. So, and we have best run blocking as well. So I think the Giants' weakness is their linebacking core and parts of their secondary. Sean Payton's going to exploit that. And I think that run game, those short pop passes, you have to get those linebackers of the Giants guessing what you're going to do. Sean Payton's going to do that really well. I think this is also be a game from jet lag and inconsistency. And I think that's why we put up 38. That's why we won 38-17. We put up the points because our offense is just better. We're just better than them. But there's going to be a struggle with Bo, maybe, if not in the beginning, if not at the end. If not at the beginning and then maybe the first quarter, then in the third quarter, if not the second quarter, maybe the fourth quarter, whatever the case may be. But I think coming off that struggle with this Dallas game, such a historic game, it's on CBS. The Cowboys haven't beaten us since the 90s. Sean Payton doesn't want to be the one to have that streak snapped. So, I can see us, we can afford an NFC loss if need be. So I can see this definitely the game of getting a little fancy. This could be a highlight game. So I'm going to say Week 8. Also, against the Giants. In order not to stop the pass rush, but to keep – remember I said you have to confuse their linebackers, but their defensive line is strong. So how do you confuse the linebackers and the defensive line at the same time? Well, you can use motions. Motions won't really get the defensive line more than the linebackers. RPO. So I expect to see Bo run a little bit more in that Giants game just to keep their defensive ends and their edge rushers honest to slow them down. Because remember, you have Abdul Carter and you have Kayvon Thibodeau. You've got young edge rushers. Young. So make them slow them down. Make them think a little bit. We want to make them think a little bit. Hey, you want to rush in here so fast? We're going to make you think a little bit. We're going to run. Now we're going to run with Bo. Now you got to account for that. So now your linebackers got to freeze up and your edge rushers have to freeze up. Now R.J. Harvin just took up for 12 yards because you have to freeze a little bit. So I that's another reason why I have low, not as many yards. I have 275 with 3 touchdowns, but I expect to see some RPO and some running with Bo that game. Enough about Week 7. Week 8. So I'm going to go 330 yards. What do I have us going? 31-24. I'm going to go 2 touchdowns. No interceptions. And I'm going to say this is a pretty good completion percentage game. We'll go 28 to 33. So that has Bo at 80. Ooh, that's way too high. I'm not going to give him 84%. Oh, yeah, he had 61% the last game. 84% is really high. But last year he had the most 80% completion percentage games. So these are a lot of 80% games. I wouldn't be surprised if I went back and kind of revised these and brought his completion percentage lower because these are way too high. I'm going to go, but I'm not going to say you're going to go 28-33 against the Cowboys because 84%, I'm just going to have to be realistic and check myself. That's way too high. If you're putting up, because I have him going Week 5, Week 6, going 80%, 79% respectively, 61%, and then going 84%. Let's bring this back down to earth. All right, let's go 23 of 31. 23 of 31. 74%. That's a little bit better. 74% plus or minus 3%. That's a little bit better. So at this point, going into week 5, because we're getting ready to close out here. Going into week 5, Bo Nix has a 71% completion percentage, 1,050 yards, 262 points passing yards per game, 9 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Now, after week 4, going weeks 5 through 8, we have, let's see, his completion percentage, 80 plus 79 plus 61 plus 74 divided by 4. All right. So he has a 73.5 completion percentage in weeks 5 through 8. Not the totality of the season, but weeks 5 through 8. So let me make sure I mark that. 5 through 8. So his completion percentage went up. It got better. All right, where is his yards at? 318 plus 345 plus 275 plus 330. He had a lot more yards. Remember, he didn't have as many yards in the first 4 weeks, but he had a lot more yards this time. 1,268 yards. Let's see, 7 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns. He's got 12 touchdowns. Now, let me look at this real quick. Week 5. I said how many interceptions? I said 80%. I'm going to go 1 INT against the Eagles. Week 6, no interceptions. Week 7, 2 interceptions. Week 8, no interceptions. So I have him going 3 interceptions in that span. Okay. So in totality, so after weeks 1 through 8, let me calculate Bo Nix's total stat line. Total prediction 1 through 8. Bo Nix's, according to the Orange Blue Network, we have him at, let's go 1,050 plus 268. 2,318 yards. 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions. 5 interceptions, 22 touchdowns. 5 interceptions. Wow. That's it. What is that now? That's almost a 4-to-1 ratio. That's a pretty good ratio. 4-to-1 interception ratio. What is it? No, that's 4.2 to 1. Yeah, that's about a 4-to-1 interception ratio. That's pretty good. That's really good. 2,318 yards, 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and let's get his average completion percentage total. First one 71.25, the second one 73. So 71.25 plus 73.5, 144.75. Divide that by 8. That is incorrect. Let's try this. 77 plus 75 plus 65 plus 68 plus 80 plus 79 plus 61 plus 74. 72.37 completion percentage. Ladies and gentlemen, Bo Nix is in the MVP docs after week 8. And that is the Orange Blue Network prediction here for his stats. coming up for weeks 1 through 8. At the end of week 8, the Broncos are 7-1. Bo Nix have brought the Broncos to 7-1, and he has a 72.37% completion percentage, 2,300 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. And that is what we're going to put on the prediction board, and we're going to see if all of this comes through. Friday, guys, we will be back to discuss weeks 9 through 17 score prediction. And if we have time, we will go over the cornerback and receiver matchups. But as you can see, sometimes it can just take up the whole show. But guys, don't forget, if you're here from the Orange and Blue Network, go ahead over to MHRT, our partners. Like their videos, subscribe to their channel, follow them on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter as well. Hit the notification bell because, as Hero said, Wild Wild West comes on today, which I didn't know, but Hero told us. So that means hit the notification bell because you're going to want to hear them talk about the AFC West. Hey, and if you're a Broncos fan, go in there and talk about the Bo Nix stat prediction. And talk about how he's going to put up MVP numbers in the first 8 weeks. All right. And then based off that, just a quick glance. If you put this towards 17, well, if you doubled this, 2318 times 2. So he put up 4,600 yards at the end of the 16 games. I think he has the potential to do that because he put up almost 4,000. I think you add an Evan Ingram and a receiving back, you have more receiving options to get those extra 800 yards that you missed. So if he went 37.75 last year, and I'm predicting based off just if you went out this way, just mirrored it for the rest of the season, he'd have to find 800 extra yards between Evan Ingram, RJ Harvey, and J.K. Dobbins. I think he can do that. That doesn't include Cortland Sutton getting extra yards from last year because he's open more. That doesn't include Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, and all that stuff. So I have him going 4,600 yards at the end of the season, 44 touchdowns, 4,600 yards, 44 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. I think that stat prediction, 4,600 yards, 44 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, is Bo Nix's ceiling. I'm not saying he's going to hit his ceiling this year, but I think with Sean Payton as his coach, that's his ceiling. But I got sidetracked. If you hear from MHRT, go over to the Orange and Blue Network. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. Today, I was allowed to be a numbers nerd. This is how I normally am. This is how my brain normally is when it comes to ball. Just numbers everywhere, putting them out. And I can't wait to get the prediction board so you guys can see my brain splatter all over and where the predictions come from. If I can get some better things, maybe we can even do some film breakdown, which is what the show is originally done for. So maybe even then we can break down we can look at some X's and O's and some squiggly lines and some arrows. Is going to be great. But that's why you guys have to like the video and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because tonight we have Broncos talk with the 6'10" Mexican and Taiwan. But Adon is also a host of Viva's Los Broncos Friday at 6 p.m. with Bronco Libre. And hey guys, shout out to you guys for tuning into the second episode of Broncos Bros on Monday. We had 3. Those gentlemen are awesome. 300, and you guys are awesome. 300 views on their second episode. I had to double take, but shout out to you guys. And don't forget to subscribe because we are on the path to 300. Johnny, once again, I need a sound button that says we are Sparta, or I need a 300 visual because we're on the path to 300. And then we'll come up with something creative after that. But this is an opportunity that we don't want to miss. Make sure you guys subscribe because we are on the path to 300. Hero says, you pony boys doing work. Shout out to the Thunder. The Bolts, Chargers, whatever. Use AC adapters. I don't know. Hero says, yeah, man, you helped me get a better grasp on you and break it down. Oh, no. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you. You've been awesome in the comments. Guys, shout out to you guys. We love you. Maha salute. Don't forget to tune in tonight. And I will see you guys on Friday, weeks 9 through 17, score prediction. And if a little bit's left over, we're going to go break down weeks 1 through 8 cornerback wide receiver matchups and see how our boys are going to square up. I don't think there's many stats we can do. Maybe we can maybe we can predict how many turnovers our defense can get. That'd be fun to do. Let's go break down how many turnovers we can get. So guys, make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss that. I love y'all. Shout out to y'all. Mile High salute. Tune in tonight to Broncos Talk and Wild Wild West. You got to support our boys over at MHRT. And I'll see you guys again Friday.